Alright, today is Martin Luther King Day, and fortunately, I'm off of work, and also fortunately, the steel yard is open today, so I figured I'd go down to the steel yard and buy a couple pieces of steel and restock my stock, because I'm pretty well out of steel for projects and repairs and such. So this is my homemade material rack, which I did a video about some years ago, and it works quite well. I thought it was kind of creative the way I designed this thing. Now, when I designed this material rack, I was faced with a bit of a challenge because there aren't many good mounting locations to mount a rack onto this truck. Well, I figured I got two really good places. One in the rear, and that's my 2-inch trailer hitch. So I'll show you that in a minute, how I designed that, pretty simple. And in the front, I had to get a little bit more creative. So what I did, I took a piece of steel, I believe it was 3 inches by 2 inches, and that's the base that goes into the plow receiver bracket. And I basically mimicked this Western receiver bracket. So I notched out 2 openings. So you slide that bracket in there and it locks in. And then I drilled a hole through that that piece of steel on that bracket there. Pin goes through there and it locks it in. And now you have a material rack. Yeah, there's no support in the middle, but what ends up happening is I just rest the steel on top of the light bar. It's not perfect, it's not pretty, but it does the job just fine. And then this is pretty simple, just 2-inch square sock, and I put a little brace right there. And yeah, so let's go down to the steel yard and visit our friend Mo, which I'm probably not going to be able to film down there, but I'll show you what I can. Alright, so I'm at the steel yard now. As you can see, I'm loaded up. And that is where I bought all the steel from. Right in the back there. This guy's got kind of like a storage facility. And this guy, I call him Mo. He is kind of like the county iron worker. And he does a lot of stuff for a lot of people. Everything from structural to inside his shop there. He had a couple little flimsy Chinese chairs that he was trying to, or well, he's gonna fix. I know that steel's kind of difficult to weld because you don't really know how good the quality is. So yeah, that's what he does here, and thankfully he lets me buy steel from him. This is a much cheaper way about going about buying steel as opposed to going to Home Depot or something like that. Yeah, I got a truck in the way now, so I gotta see if I could get this guy out of the way. Alright, and before I forget, for you safety Nazis out there, yes, this is not the safest way to carry steel. I know, you know, if I was doing 60 and I brake pretty hard, there's a chance of everything sliding forward. There's probably some kind of cap or, I don't know, cover that I should have put on the front to prevent it from sliding forward, but the steel yard's only a couple minutes down the road from my house, and I was taking all back roads, didn't go above 25 miles an hour, so it's okay in my opinion. Yes, I probably could be doing something to make this a little bit safer, This is about the limit of this system. The poles are only 1-inch square tube, which really, if I want to carry any more weight on this, I got to do something else. I either got to brace it up, put something to prevent the rocking, but it does rock a little bit. It's not perfect. It does need improvements, but it gets the job done. So yeah, now I need to get this steel off here, and I'll show you where I store it in a minute, but I just want to talk about how much everything costs. So before I go see this guy, I always buy him a case of beer, because I always want to be on this guy's good side. I think he gives me a pretty good deal. For everything that I got here, I spent $162. I paid cash, so he didn't charge me tax. Shh. Hopefully the federal government isn't watching, but what did I get? I got 12 feet of half-inch bar, or half-inch rod. That was $7. I got 24 feet of half-inch square tube. That cost me $12. I bought 48 feet of 1-inch square tube, 14 gauge. That cost me $48. Here's the big ticketed item. I bought 24 feet of 2x2 square stock, and it was 11 gauge. That cost me $70. Yes, that was pretty expensive, but I really needed some square 2-inch square tube, so kind of had no choice there. I bought 20 feet of 1/4-inch rod. It was only $5. I bought 20 feet of 3/8-inch rod, $7, and 20 feet of 1-inch by 1-inch angle iron, 1/8-inch wall thickness, and that cost me $13. So I got plenty of steel to do some projects and repairs. If you guys are looking to buy your own steel, I definitely recommend you looking up, local ironworks or steel yards. Because if you go to, like, I don't know, you go to Home Depot or especially Tractor Supply, for maybe like a 5-foot piece of angle, probably be like $20. Where I just bought like a 20-foot section of this, it only cost me $13. But definitely want to try and stay on these people's good side, because you want something from them, so scratch their back, and hopefully they'll be nice to you in return. I don't know much about junkyards. Junkyards are another place you could go search for steel. It's just probably not going to be clean steel. I don't know, that's something I kind of want to try in the future. I'm saving up some scrap right now to take a run down there one of these days, so maybe I'll take you along for that ride when we go down there. But yeah, so let me show you where I got this steel stationed. Alright, so from about here to the back of the garage right here, it's 22 feet, so the 24 footers I got to cut off about 2 foot. But I think the way I store my steel is pretty ingenious. So it gets stored right here, clearly. It gets stored underneath this wooden workbench, which I created. And then it goes in the back. It gets stored underneath the steel table. Goes underneath or in between the casters of this toolbox. And then my air compressor I have on a pallet still. And I just slide the steel right back in there on top of the wood of the pallet there. So the steel is always suspended. So if there's ever any water in the garage, I don't have to worry about corrosion on the steel, which I think that's a pretty smart idea. You always want to keep it off the ground a little bit if you can. So yeah, it doesn't get in the way or anything like that. And that's about all I have for this video. If you guys like me taking you along to the steel yard, I'd appreciate a thumbs up and subscribe for more. I'm sure I'm going to be having some cool projects coming up with all this steel. Thanks for watching.